Apple's foldable iPhone has been 2 years away for almost a decade. In 2018, the story was 2020. Then it shifted to 2021, 2022, 2024, 2025, and now the latest wave of leaks points to a real target, 2026. And this time, the rumors aren't just vague. We're seeing more consistent details about the name, the design, the screen sizes, the price, the cameras, the hinge tech, and even the compromises Apple may have to accept to make a foldable iPhone happen. So here's the full breakdown of everything we know right now about Apple's first foldable iPhone, widely rumored to be called the iPhone Ultra, including the expected launch window, specs, and the big trade-offs that could surprise a lot of people. Let's start with the headline. The foldable iPhone is now expected to launch in September 2026, likely alongside the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. And multiple reports suggest the regular, non-Pro iPhone 18 could be pushed later, potentially even into 2027. If that's accurate, Apple's 2026 iPhone lineup could be unusually Pro-heavy, with the foldable positioned as the new top-tier premium flagship. Now, before we go further, even with stronger leaks, you should still treat this as Apple speculation, because foldables are exactly the kind of product Apple will delay if any major piece isn't perfect. But compared to past years, the rumor picture is getting sharper. So, what will Apple's foldable iPhone be called? For years, everyone defaulted to iPhone Fold because it's simple and obvious. But the more recent chatter suggests Apple may go with a more premium, status-driven name, iPhone Ultra. That lines up with Apple's existing Ultra branding in other categories, and it also sends a clear message. This isn't an experimental side product. It's meant to be the most expensive, most capable iPhone Apple sells. And speaking of expensive, let's talk price, because the foldable iPhone Ultra could easily become the priciest iPhone ever. The latest estimates put the starting price around $119.99 to $2,000. That's not just a bit more than a Pro Max. That's a full leap into premium foldable territory, directly targeting people who want a phone-tablet hybrid for productivity, multitasking, and content consumption. Basically, buyers who might otherwise carry both an iPhone and an iPad. Which brings us to the design. Every major leak trend right now points to a book-style foldable, not a flip phone. Think less clamshell that folds top to bottom, and more passport-style device that opens like a book. Similar in concept to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold or Google Pixel Fold. When closed, it's wider and squarer than a normal iPhone. When opened, it becomes an iPad mini-like slab designed for 2-column apps, multitasking, reading, and wider web browsing. And that inner screen? That's one of the most consistent parts of the leaks. The iPhone Ultra is rumored to feature a 7.7 to 7.8-inch internal display when unfolded, onto 5.3 to 5.5-inch external display when closed, so you get a normal phone mode outside and a tablet-like canvas inside. But here's the detail that makes this feel very Apple: the aspect ratio. Multiple reports suggest the unfolded display will use a 4.3 aspect ratio, similar to iPad, rather than the tall, narrow look many foldables have used. And that choice instantly tells you what Apple is aiming for: productivity. A 4.3 layout is better for split-screen multitasking, documents and spreadsheets, email and web browsing, reading and editing, and video timelines or creative apps that need width. In other words, Apple isn't trying to make a foldable iPhone that's just bigger. It's trying to make one that feels like an iPhone and an iPad mini merged into a single device. But there's a twist a lot of people may not love. Even though it's iPad-shaped when open, the iPhone Ultra is expected to run a modified version of iOS, not iPad OS. That likely means Apple will add specific multitasking and productivity features tuned for the foldable form factor, but it won't be a full iPad replacement in software terms. Apple may want the Ultra to expand what iPhone can do without cannibalizing iPad sales, or without having to support full iPad OS behavior on an iPhone-class device. Now let's get to the part that will decide whether this product becomes legendary or controversial: the compromises. Because even if Apple calls it Ultra, foldables force trade-offs, and the latest leak suggests some big ones. Compromise number 1: the telephoto camera may be missing. Yes, on a $2,000 iPhone, The rumor is that the foldable design may not have enough internal space to include a true telephoto module, meaning you could end up with a camera system that focuses on wide and ultra-wide instead. Some reports describe a multi-camera setup overall, but still point toward no telephoto as the key sacrifice. For a lot of buyers, that's a deal breaker. Telephoto is one of the most used pro features. Portraits, travel shots, events, stage photos, low-light zoom, so losing it on the most expensive iPhone would feel like a strange step backward. But it also highlights the reality of foldables. Hinges, internal layering, and battery packaging eat space fast. Compromise number 2. Face ID might not make the cut. This one is huge, because foldables create a camera problem. You need different front-facing camera angles depending on whether the device is folded or unfolded. And with thickness constraints, squeezing Face ID's full hardware system into a foldable body becomes much harder. So the current expectation is that Apple may ditch Face ID on the iPhone Ultra and use Touch ID in the side button instead. Similar to iPad Air's power button fingerprint sensor, that would be a practical, reliable solution. But it's still a major identity shift for iPhone, especially on an Ultra model. Compromise number 3. Wireless charging could be complicated. Some leaks suggest the foldable iPhone Ultra may not use a traditional glass back in the same way current iPhones do. And if the rear materials and internal structure change, that could impact MagSafe alignment or even wireless charging performance. Apple could still solve this with smart materials and engineering, because removing MagSafe from a flagship iPhone would be a massive shock. But the rumor is clear. Wireless charging on a foldable is not as straightforward as on a flat slab phone. Compromise number 4. No unibody construction. A hinge design forces a more segmented build, and that affects everything. Durability, water-resistant strategy, repair design, and how premium the device feels in the hand. Apple will almost certainly try to make the iPhone Ultra feel single-piece in use, but structurally, foldables are different. Now, here's where the iPhone Ultra rumors get really interesting. Because Apple's biggest obstacle isn't the camera or the materials. It's the crease. Every foldable has to fight the same battle. The visible, tactile crease where the screen bends. Apple has reportedly spent years delaying its foldable iPhone, largely because it wants that crease reduced to the point where it's nearly unnoticeable, and the latest leaks suggest Apple may finally be close. There are claims that Samsung Display, Apple's major display supplier, has developed a near-creaseless OLED panel designed to meet Apple's standards. That's a big deal because if Apple launches a foldable, it has to look and feel better than the foldables people already know. Apple can't enter the category with a normal crease and call it a win.